Wayne Andrews is the embodiment of the phrase never give up. I first met him at Watford when he was a young player known for his speed, and despite injury setbacks and a time spent at non-league level, he went on to play for 14 years as a pro, including a season in the Premier League with Crystal Palace. After forging a career as an elite personal trainer after retirement, Wayne received a shock kidney failure diagnosis in 2012 and went on to have a life-saving transplant just a few years later. We caught up to talk football, health, and how it feels to see your son following in your footsteps. Wayne Andrews, welcome to the podcast.
Good afternoon, Jason. Can I say good afternoon?
You can say good day, whatever you want, my man.
How are you?
I'm blessed. And how are you today?
I'm good. Everything's good. Health's good. So, yeah, I'm excited.
We'll get to all of that, but let's talk back to how we first came in contact and how I first met you. It was an unfortunate day for me when I when I met you at Watford back in the day. I'm not going to lie. You kind of stained my brain, since. But young player, I signed Graham Taylor. He told me about some young prospects. You wasn't one of them. No, you was. You was one of them. I think I met you in a gym, and it might have been one of the first times I can kind of recall meeting you. And I think we struck up a kind of instant bit of banter, to be fair. You had a bit about you. So
I think that generation, you had that, there's a real that respect of the senior pros. So it was a little bit different to like maybe what it is now. So obviously knowing who you were, knowing you were about, it was good. And obviously you were centre forward, so it was easier for me to obviously learn. And my game was always playing off of a big man. So for me, it was exciting, and it was good times.
I remember you tapping in and asking me questions, which is not always the thing with young players, especially with players playing in similar positions. Sometimes there's all sorts of envy or whatever, but I think I remember yourself and Gifton and other young players, looking to kind of pick my brains, and I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I think we was always learning. Like I said, we were from the generation, so there was you. They obviously had Tommy Mooney, and there was obviously people that was me and Gifton. Obviously, we slid in, so we were the younger ones that obviously a little bit fresher. So it was always good just to learn. And I like to think like we maybe had a bit about ourselves as well. So certainly, because of that, it was easier for us to know our position, but also ultimately know that I can handle myself in this situation. So yeah.
From what I remember, obviously Graham Taylor had stepped back in as manager. Kenny Jackett was manager, and obviously the team had been out of the Championship and got relegated to League One. So the aim was to get back at least to the Championship, and with Graham going back in and his history of being really successful with the club and Aston Villa and obviously managing England, I was his first signing, going back in. I was his first signing, yeah. And I remember the conversation, and he was, I need to rebuild. We've got some young players. I'm going to be signing some players. He told me about some of the players. Micah Hyde, he was looking to bring in. We all know about Micah, real character.
So Tony Daly come there as well, didn't he?
Tony Daly came in briefly. Yeah, obviously he was still struggling with his injuries and this and that. I think that was the following season Tony came in, to be fair.
Was it?
Yeah. Ronnie Rosenthal, that was a big one. Ronnie came from Spurs. Pretty much let him do whatever he wanted.
He was a funny, lazy
I don't know if he was a number 10 or what. I don't even know what number he was. He was just all over the place. You do your own thing, Ronnie, and we'll control the middle of the park, yeah? We'll pick it up. But there were some characters there, and you being a player who pretty much came through the ranks at Watford, right? You would have understood the history of the club in terms of people like, obviously, Luther Blissett, Tom Wally, Kenny Jackett, Gary Johnson, obviously
Kenny was my youth team manager. So it was weird. So Graham Taylor coming in, obviously my era and the era that we was in, we had to still do jobs. So when I was a pro, it was different. So we had that understanding of know your position. Like I remember the first time having to knock on the door to the first team changing room. And then someone saying, you can come in. So you can just bowl in as a young, even a young pro. So Graham Taylor coming in, the discipline was already there. Yeah. And it was little things. I remember, obviously, I lived in Watford. You'd always go home. So you could go out on a Saturday night, which was calm, and he'd come back in Monday and say, like, was you out? Was I out? No, was I out? Because he knew all the bouncers. He knew everything that was going on in Watford. So you couldn't even lie. No one could lie about anything.
Who was that, Kenny?
No, Graham. Yeah, Graham Taylor. Like, so he'd tell you straight, you were seen by XYZ in this club. I'm like, oh, okay.
He did that to us, the senior pros,
one
time.
Yeah. So he always knew what was going on, which when you look back, I think that gave you the togetherness and understood, listen, like you weren't doing nothing wrong, but You always been watched. Yeah, you always been watched. And then that's when, obviously, I'm a West London boy. I started veering off to the West End. I said, nah, you don't know no one down the West End. I'll go there.
It was a madness. For me, being, 26, 27, got kids, this, that, and the other. You see yourself as, an adult. So Graham, as you said, he had that way with players that maybe treated players maybe like they were young people.
Yeah.
He
understood everyone. And I remember him saying to me, this is the craziest thing ever. So the year I got released, so obviously Watford got to the final at Wembley. I think I don't know if you were there when Nick Wright done the overhead kick.
Yeah, that was the following season.
Yeah, following season. So
back into the Premier League.
Yeah, so I obviously, in that time, I broke my ankle. People had overtaken me. And he called me into the office and said, listen, we're not going to give you another contract. But keep smiling. It's going to take you a long way in your career. And that was how I got released. I was like, oh, okay. And I just left. And like he said, I was just like, that's a bit strange. He goes, no, you got great personality. Just keep smiling and you'll be all right. But I look back now and the disappointment was disappointment, but he understood me. He understood people as people. So he had that thing of understanding everyone differently. So he knew what made people tick. And I suppose like looking back when you played with me, I got no in between when I played. Yeah. So I'm very placid, but then if I felt like I didn't get that tackle, I'm going to go and smash someone. That's what I was like. But sometimes playing with senior pros calmed me down a little bit. But football's about opportunities, isn't it? Like I said, me getting injured, someone overtakes you. That's how football is. So I never lived my life with regret. Like when I was at Watford, I remember my debut when I was 17. So like people can't really take that away. If I was 17, there's not a lot of people that made their debut. Like I said, so for me it was good. Like good memories and just like I said, you get on with things.
I made my debut at 17. So you've mentioned that, which is a good reference point. And you saw some new players coming in, new signings. And you didn't really get many games, did you?
No.
So I know, because I was thinking back to 17, I had to go out on loan. I wanted to progress.
Yeah.
So that's hard, right? You've made the debut at 17, you think everything's going to
Because it was easier, because I had Kenny Jackett, who was then in charge, who was my youth team manager. Yeah. So I understood I was going to get more. He knew me. So obviously then Graham's come back. Yeah. I think Luther coming for Luther coming in for a bit. He was there. And then Graham come back and I'm just like, boy, this could be a sticky. I think we went to Lithuania on pre-season tour. And I was just like, this is going to be hard.
It's going to be changes.
Right, you need to get your head down. And I've always been that person, like, it is what it is. Like, and I understood I might not play as much as I might not play, but and like, even when you look at the kids now, like, some of them won't get it. For me, travelling was okay, I'm in the squad. Then it comes a point where, forget money, forget if I just want to play. So I wasn't being allowed out nowhere. And then, I don't think was you there when I went on loan to Peterborough?
I can't remember. Possibly.
So I eventually got. So basically, Barry Fry had met Graham Taylor at some awards do, got him drunk, and said, "Listen, I want to take Wayne on loan." Okay. And this had gone on for. He had tried to get the week before, got him drunk. Anyway, signed on the. And this is how crazy it was. Signed on the Friday. Went to Peterborough. No one. Like you said, like they had Matthew Everton and like a couple of players. You go in. I just knew a couple of people. It's like, you right, mate? Yeah, pass me. You don't know names. Started on the Saturday. We were losing 2-1. And obviously, Barry Fry was just a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, like, I played for him twice.
Yeah, and I'm going into changing room, he's arguing, chucking cups. I'm like, what is going on here? And we gone in, he said, you got 10 minutes to someone, I can't remember who it was, or I'm going to drag you off the pitch myself. And
that was you, innit?
No, like, I'm sitting there, I'm on loan. And like, we've come in 2-1, and like, I've gone out and scored a 10-minute hat-trick, and ended up scoring 4 goals in the game. And I'm like, in the space of, I think, like 15 minutes. I'm like, no, this is crazy. And like I said, it's football. Like, things happen. Yeah. Like, you just, that opportunity. Then I ended up going back to Watford. And then I think when I left there, I look back, I was talking about this the other day. I dropped out the league, but didn't need to drop out the league. I dropped out the league and played for St Albans because of how football was. I wasn't happy. So for me, it was just easier to just play non-league football and then just try and find my happiness again. So like, I didn't like the whole how football was going. Yeah. So maybe, like I said, I could have stayed in the league. I had opportunities, but I thought, nah, I just want to just play football. So like I said, things like that, people don't think they understand the ins and outs of how it works.
People only see the final product regarding football, but talking about Watford as well, I mean, I took some good and bad things away from my time there. And the good things was Graham's professionalism, the fact that he never left a stone unturned. No. He had really good ethics and this and the other. And some of the things you mentioned about going out, I think we was top of the league. We was winning. We was entitled to a night out, and we came in on a Monday and they had these running boards set up.
Yeah.
So we was running on a Monday, and you never run on a Monday. Monday's like just work yourself back in. Do you know what I mean? We'd won on the weekend, and we was doing these sprints, these shuttles. And while we were doing the sprints and shuttles, he's basically saying, yeah, good night out in Watford, did we, boys? Blah, blah, blah. You went here, you went there. And we're like, so what, is this punishment? No. We need to be fresh. We need to be sharp. I'm thinking, this sounds like punishment to me.
It's a way of like keeping you in check.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of like, when you think about it, you had Richard Johnson, we had Page, we had like characters that, and obviously they come through the youth team as well. Yeah. So there was a lot of Watford was Watford back then. So you come through the system at some point. So like they all knew, Watford was all they knew. But when they went out, it was just like, I remember going into a club at 17. Like I wasn't even, obviously I was in the squad at 17. So they're all going out and I'm like, I'm not even meant to be here, but it's what it is. I'm just going to carry on. But I said that whole togetherness is the reason why we was at the top of the league. So you go into, it's like most teams, you go into battle knowing full well, do you know what? Like, I don't know, he's next to me, he's my mate, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And sometimes that works in your favour.
These are the good things that I'm going to take. As I said, at the time, kicking and screaming, I was hating it. I was thinking, this guy, as I said, I was 26, 27. You're trying to treat me like one of the young boys and I'm not having it. Do you know what I mean? Like, trying to push back. But, we used to train, which people wouldn't understand. Get your head around this, right, if you're listening. We would train on a match day, right? We'd be on Vicarage Road, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we got to kick off at 3 o'clock. Right? We'd be on the pitch, like 9 o'clock. Doing shape, listen to GT, talking about the game. You belong to me today. Forget your wives and your tickets and this, that, and the other. We've got a big game to prepare for. Graham, I'm like, Graham, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, I should be in my bed.
Especially like you used to travel down. You used to travel down.
Well, what I would do is prepare properly. I would, I'm from London anyway. I could start at my mum's in East London. I drive around the M25. It could be an hour or whatever. It's like 25 miles. Yeah, that's why I didn't relocate back to London. What am I doing that for? But I'd be there, 9 o'clock. I could have been in bed. And then we'd do the training. And then we'd go and eat, 11 o'clock at the pre-match. And it'd be a long ass day. And I'd be like, is that how you're going on? But we was winning every week. Yeah. So it's like something, how are you going to argue your question? What's working? But I was kicking and screaming, hating it, thinking you're taking the piss. Yeah, and this wasn't only home, but away, we would find some dog shit park somewhere. Right?
I remember that. Yeah,
we'd get off the coach. We'd get on the coach.
No nets.
Go and find whatever in the field, and we'd be doing nothing on the field, right? Preparing for a 3 o'clock game. I'm like, come on, man. This guy.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Leave us alone, please.
But like I said, it's like everyone's method to the madness at the time.
There was a method, and back-to-back promotion, back to the Premier League. I got the shirt up here. I don't know if you're on there, Wayne, but...
Am I on there?
I don't know your signature, mate.
No, I don't know.
But listen, that's obviously
I think you told me to sign the back, innit? And then you put the one on the front. That's what you done. Sign the back, sign the back for me. That was a Fulham game.
Fulham game. You've got to give Watford a shout out. That's, all about the Forest and this and that, but give Watford a shout out. Won something with a group of players. That's all you can hope for when you're trying to... And made some lifelong friends as well. So some of the characters there, like Kenny Jackett, we know what he's like. Had a successful coaching and management career. No surprise because of his tutelage underground. But someone like Tom Wally, who's a character, because I know you used to do extra work with Tom Wally. You told me you used to have to go to the bottom of his garden on a Saturday morning or whatever.
He had
and do drills.
His grass was like, no word of lies, it's like Wembley. Okay. But it had stones and you weren't allowed to get off my grass. And I wouldn't get off grass. So you had to walk on this pebbles and he had a gate at the back and he had a sauna as well. Okay. So you walk out, you walk out and you'll be like, what is this? I'm talking, it was about twice the size of of a football pitch. And
really?
But to be fair, everyone would turn up. So back then it was like John Hartson was his boy.
Yeah.
Bellamy was his boy. All these Welsh boys would come in and there's certain things when you say, even in life, certain people, if you actually listen to what they're saying and not how they're talking, they actually make sense. He was just crazy. He was crazy.
He was a mad scientist.
He was crazy. Yeah,
because I didn't know him. But to be fair, he loved me, right? But I think because I was a senior pro and he knew how I was, and he loved my combativeness, right? My aggression.
Yeah.
So I'd walk on a training ground and I'd see Tom, and you'd have like Perpetuini and all these younger players who were coming through. He'd be like, hey, with his sergeant major, Jason, look at these. And I'd be like, what? they're not doing it right.
Yeah,
and he had one leg basically, a kickstand leg, right? And he's running, he's doing the runs and he's doing sit-ups and he's breaking his body. And I'm like, why are you doing this, Tom? He used to
do some crazy stuff.
What's going on?
One time we was in the coach, like the minibus going, and he's spat, but he thought the window was open. And he spat on the window. Don't worry about it, man. And then what? And we're sitting there,
so
we're
like, up the window.
We're like, Tom, nah. So I needed a good clean. He was crazy.
He was nuts.
But when you look back, and like I said, he taught me a lot. Like he was a lot about.
He was Graham Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
He allowed him to just.
It's like the yin and the yang. Like he would not get away with what he'd done back then. No way.
Not.
No way.
Safeguarding would go out the window.
No way. But when you think back, and it's weird because
he worked at Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
Because he was telling me, he used to tell me this story all the time. I used to piss myself, and he'd go, I'm not going to try and do his accent, but Wenger, it's all about the carrots.
Yeah.
He's telling about these carrots all day, every day. You got to get your carrots, got to eat your carrots. Because that's part of, that's just part of the Arsenal way. And I'm like, allow these carrots, man. You know
and bearing in mind, they were next door to Watford training ground. And like you couldn't, when you actually think of, like I said, when you think what he was saying, like he was talking sense, but he was like the mad scientist from Back to the Future. He's like Doc. He was like a version of that in like, okay. But then, like I said, going to his house, doing the running, and he was all about hard work. Yeah, and that's what Watford was about.
So you guys were set up. You guys were set up really to be, good pros going forward.
So like a lot of, not even a lot, all of the stuff from Watford days is in my life now, and people won't even get it. Like it's just set certain ways. Set. So like I can look after myself. I can clean. I can sew. I can wash. I can cook. All of that stuff you got from back in the day when you were growing up. Like you said, you was in digs. I felt like I was miles from home, but I weren't. But you just learn, and then you're going in. It was just a routine.
Rob Page?
Yeah.
Who would have thought, well, I suppose I'm not surprised. He was a captain. He was our captain when we were there. Gone on to be a manager, and obviously he's manager of the Welsh national team.
Page was with me at Coventry, and you could see he was a leader, like there and then. But like even when you watched him and you look at him, he's like, he ain't changing, thinking like, I could play. And that's the thing, you'd get, Jay. There's certain people through your career that, even though they were your manager, you weren't really playing for them. But there's certain managers that you played for. Yeah, and people that listen will understand this, that you played for certain people. And other people, you're just like, whatever, and it like, you carry on, you're going to get sacked soon anyway. That's how, unfortunately, that's how it was sometimes. But most luckily for me, all the managers I got on with, and they understood me, and I think that's what it is. But once they understand you as a person, you end up doing like going the extra yard.
Well, he's doing brilliantly with the world. And I crossed paths with him briefly when he was coaching at Forest as well. So, I'm not surprised. He's studious, and he stepped in. So your son, your lad plays coming through. Obviously at Watford, signed his first professional contract. Yeah. You must be extremely proud.
Yeah, we made his debut in the FA Cup third round in January. So it's been a long road. I've never really got involved. I'll be honest with you. That like I used to be like, go to a game.
We spoke about this.
Yeah, go to a game. I'd say morning, I'm polite, and then I'll go and stand in the corner. I'm just that dad. Like, and to be fair to him, which was maybe easy for him, I'd already finished my football career. So there was no expectation of watching me on a Saturday, then thinking like he's got to do it. It was all him. So we've had conversation, and where he's got to where he is, I've had to have words in that, but I've always wanted him to be able to come to me and talk about it. That's just kids in general. But when you're coming to me and you're talking, then you get it. That means you get it. So I'll then give you advice. Otherwise, I remember I've spoken to a couple of dads, like after games, I'd never talk to him. I'd never say, because I think about, if we've had a game and you've had a bit of a bad game, how'd you get on? Well, don't know, right? You're not getting nothing out of it. It's like me asking my little girl how was school. I can't remember. What? An hour ago. Like she didn't want to talk. So I'd come like 2 days later. I'd be like, how do you think you've done? And then he'll open up more and say, oh, yeah, cool, you're doing all right. Just like get your head down.
So it's only when you've not done well you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Like, but even that, like, but even
you've done well, you can't wait to talk about it.
But he's talking about, okay, but how many crosses did you get in? Like he's a right back. I'm that person. I always have something here. What would you like defensively? Yeah. Like, and even little things like we went to a game a little while ago. So I take him to games like proper game, Prem games, and I'm like, just watch, see what's going on. And then I said to him like, who do you identify with? Who are you? Like, what sort of player are you? Because a lot of these kids don't know. Not say who they are. So obviously he's a right back. Are you a Reece James? Are you a Trent? Are you a Walker? What are you? Like if anything, take little bits out of all of them and be an attacker as well as being able to defend. And like you look back when you were growing up, we had someone. These kids have got everything. They're given I swear to you, they're given a box, right, with everything in it, and they say, "There, go make some money." And in that time, stuff's gonna fall out. We didn't have that. You had to find your way. You had to do stuff like that. So I keep telling them all the time, like, you're in a good place if you get your head right. You just got to get your head right.
It's a good analogy, good way of putting it.
Yeah,
because
like,
some people still think they haven't got enough in that box. They want more. What more do you want other than controlling and doing it for them?
In today's society, you're given everything. I'm not saying that they don't have to work hard. You have to have a talent, but you're given everything. So you're given like, whether it be the miles, you can't do. Say they can't do so much running in a week. Otherwise, they have to be monitored. So when you go to game, when you're going to game day, you're 100%. Like scientifically, you're 100%.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, you got everything. Like we had like a bench, lat pull down, and a treadmill at a push.
And we knew our leg was hanging off.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't train today. Do you know what I mean? But the manager will be saying, "Come on, you can work through that."
Yeah, put you on the heat lamp. It can get you hot, and then you go out and do something. And then, but again, I was saying this before, like not in a bad way. The kids' mentality is a bit different to us. Yeah. Like I wouldn't say, we experience different things. They're in a different world, but I just think sometimes these kids have got to understand. And I say to them all the time, "You are in a good place. Just like trust the process." Yeah. Like. Obviously social media don't help because they see everything. We didn't see nothing. Yeah. Like we heard about you and they might see you on a night out. Oh yeah, you scored those goals, didn't you? Yeah. But now it's just like they see too much. Yeah. So because of that, it makes them feel as though they're not progressing how they should be progressing.
But generally you only see the good stuff as well, right?
That's it. I mean, I tell them all the time, like even like I said, stay in your own lane. Stay in your lane. I tell people this all the time. Your lane is your lane. Like it's not no one else's lane. You're gonna
keep them humble.
Yeah, stay in your lane. You don't know if you're on a motorway, you might get overtaken, but I'll bet you catch them in a bit. So I just try to give them little pep talks. So when I talk. Otherwise, I don't say nothing. I haven't got that time to be talking too much to him about football.
Well, listen, I wish him well. I'm sure with your guidance, he'll do well, whether he's a footballer or whatever it may be. So
I think it was good in a way because obviously he made his debut where I made my debut. So it's already a rare thing. It doesn't happen all the time. Like so, I said to him, "Listen, it's mad. Like you're born right next to the hospital." And then you made your debut. Like the hospital's obviously next to Watford. I said, you do well. You could be one of their own, literally. Like, but it's a mentality thing with these kids, and that's the most important thing I'm trying to get over to him. To be honest.
All right, no pressure. We'll be looking out for him. So you dropped out. You alluded to the fact earlier. You left Watford.
Yeah.
And you dropped into non-league, and you did that for your own well-being in terms of you kind of fell out of love with maybe the professional game.
Well, I broke my ankle. We had a game.
I played in that game. I want to talk about that game, right? I want to talk about that game because in my mind's eye, right, you was like, it was 60-40 in the keeper's favour, yeah? Me and you were playing up top. You come tearing through, like, just leave the ball, man. You come tearing through the keeper, smash, collision, broken bones, your leg, your ankle.
Because it was weird because like we had a game.
You had no right to be going for that ball.
Yeah, but we had a game. I think it was on a Saturday. And then something happened and loads of us had to play in the game.
Vexed.
Yeah, we were vexed.
And I was just like, game I played.
I was like, why am I playing the reserve game? Like, so I played in the reserve game.
What are you doing playing? Yeah. What was I doing playing?
Yeah, but I was more important right then because I was breaking
man.
through.
You wasn't. I was the main man in the team and he's putting me up top with you in midweek game in the reserves. Like, what's going on? And I got to watch your madness.
I remember running through. I think I'm going to get this. But you got to let people know, basically my nickname was Flash. Yeah. I was quick. Yeah. In my head, I was 90-10. In my head, that's what I thought it was 90-10.
Too quick for your brain.
And I remember going through and then my foot, he caught the bottom of my foot and everyone thought it was my shin pads. But I broke my tib and my fib. And anyway.
Your leg was twist off, man.
Yeah. So like, what then happened was, and this is what I say in football, the people that behind me all of a sudden overtook me. So I was out for 8 months.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
And then obviously, I said, dropped into non-league because I just felt like, you know what, for me, it was most important just to get back and try and find me. And I look back now and it's most probably the best thing that I've done. Like, and I looked after my daughter. I was a house husband for 2 years. Remember, I looked after my little girl. And then I'd go to St Albans, play Tuesday, Thursday, and the train Tuesday, Thursday, play Saturday. So it just worked for me at the time where I was in my life, I suppose.
So did you go from, you can remind me of not, did you go, so was it Bob Dowie and then go and sign for Oldham because of that link.
Basically, Bob was at St Albans,
Mm.
and he obviously persuaded me, said, let's come to St Albans.
Mm.
And I went to St Albans, and it was just loads of heads. I'm thinking, all these people, because obviously it was at that time where people like I'd grown up were coming through. So there's a lot of disillusioned people.
Yeah.
So even like, I remember going to games, and like, what are you doing here? You should play in the league. Nah, I'm just like, I just want to play. And like, they'd be talking and be like, yeah, are you still working there and there? And I remember sitting there thinking, I don't want no one to know where I'm working. I was looking at my daughter. I didn't have to work because I was obviously on good money then, right? So I'm thinking,
St Albans, yeah?
At St Albans. So they put me on more money.
They paid good money in those days.
They put me more money than I would have done in league. So I'm thinking, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna get myself back together, look after my little girl. And then I then signed for Bob left St Albans and I signed for Chesham, and that's where I met Fitz Hall.
Oh, okay.
So obviously me and Fitz, and this was the whole thing. So we're going through, and this was before the transfer window.
Fitz Hall, centre half.
Yeah.
Did he go to Oldham as well?
So this is what happened. So then they had no transfer window back then. It was just open whenever. So we've gone up, me and Fitz have, Bob's at, Ian Dowie's at Oldham, was assistant manager. We've gone up to do a trial to London boys. It was so cold. It was so cold. Like, so we've gone there, we've gone on trial, didn't even manage to have a game. But so obviously the whole Southern Softy thing, like, so we've gone up there, but we're two boys from an estate. There's no Southern Softy, like, you're not going to mug me off. That's what my attitude was. So I've gone on trial. Was you testing me? Maybe you was, but you ain't going to win. Like, that's how my mentality was. So come back, didn't manage to play in the game in the end. Then Fitz went, and then at the end of the season, I thought, right, that's it. I've got to get a job. I'm going to get a job. And then Ian got the job at Oldham, and then I signed, and I signed a year, and then that was it. I was back in the league. And then like we had Darren Sheridan, John Sheridan. So again, I've now gone as a 25-year-old. So this is when I say to people, I've gone as a 25-year-old, dropped out the league, got back into the league at 25.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah. And then I've got all these old senior pros. So it's taken me back to like review. So all of a sudden I'm like, right, I'm in a good place here. John Ayres, all these people that were looking after me and they could see stuff. And I remember Bob going to me, because obviously he was talking, like Ian said to me, listen, you're not going to get into the team till around December. I'm like, but it's only July. Like, obviously I've now got to get my body used to training every day. So obviously we've done that, got into the team, I think it was September in the end, and never looked back. And then we got into the playoff and lost to QPR in the semi-finals. I think I scored like 14 goals that day.
I was going to say, it's probably your most successful
Yeah.
period, right?
And by then I was happy. And like, you're talking about relocation. At the time, my boy wasn't around. My little girl's mum still lived in Watford. But I was only given a year with a year option. Yeah. And I thought,
the option's in their favour, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the madness of it. So I'm thinking, I can't just bring them up because I don't know what's going to happen. And then Oldham went into administration. So the minute it went into administration, that option don't count no more.
Of course. So this is what young players need to understand. An option is always in the club's favour because if they want to keep you, they will retain you and offer you a dead-out contract. They can offer you £1 more than what you was on previously. You're my player. But if you want to leave, you can't leave. So as an agent, if you're listening, intermediaries, stop getting your players to sign these options because they don't work for the player.
And I think at the time, like I said, when I went, I had no option. I've come from. It was like a gamble to them, but I've come from like...
It sounds good though.
Yeah.
You know, agent or whatever says, guess what, I've got you a contract. You've got a year or 2 years with an option. An option for them, by the way, to sign another year and dead money.
And then I ended up coming back and signing for Colchester because I just wanted to be back down south with my family. That's so to me, but I'd always have love for Oldham.
So from Colchester, did you go Palace?
Then I was obviously... Then Ian then got the job from... I think it was Oldham, and he went to Palace. So the year that I remember when Shipley and AJ, when they beat West Ham in the playoff final, so they'd gone to the Prem that year. So then I'm now gone to Oldham, gone to Colchester, banging in goals, still doing me, and then they've come in, and I'm just like,
Premier League,
I got to go. But looking back now, this might sound crazy. I should have stayed where I was because. But in my head, I'm thinking. But no,
listen, you might not have got that opportunity.
Yeah. So my journey, football league, non-league, back into the Prem. Like, so no one can ever tell me anything. No one can ever tell me anything. Like, from the fact that I've worked hard and my mentality is, I'm not going to fail. No one can tell me nothing. So obviously gone to Palace. I'm now officially a squad player. by the way. So like, and by this time, Fitz had gone to Palace as well.
Yeah.
So we've got Joby's there, Mikel's there. There was
Bobby Bower's there.
Yeah, there was just so there's just good people around us. And it just became a case of like squad player. I think I ended up becoming a winger, which was like hard work, man. Like we had AJ up front, and I've gone from scoring like 29 goals in 2 seasons to scoring 1 in 2 years. Like, and even then you talk about loans, so they wouldn't let me go on loan. And I remember like, you have little outbursts, you'll get it sometimes. I remember coming out of the changing room. So I'd already known there was like 10 clubs. So I knew 10 clubs wanted to take me on loan. They wouldn't let me go. So I remember coming out the change room. I said, just release me, let me go. I want to go on loan. I was like, oh, what? I don't know what was going through my head.
So people start singing that, yeah?
Yeah, I was just let me leave. And then like, Bob's gone, Wayne? Yes, Bob. Can I have a word? Because he's like director of football then.
Okay.
And he's like, listen, come on, man. You got to. I said, yeah, but I'm just frustrated now. Like I said, it's the same thing. I didn't see nothing more than I want to play football. There was no money, nothing. I just want to play football. I just want to play. Like, and you're not letting me play. And then I think that year our reserve team was an absolute joke. We had Dougie Freeman, Mikel was in the team. We just had players that could have played in the Championship. Our reserve team in the Prem. But like you said, eventually I got in, and then Clinton was there as well. Clinton came, character man.
Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, Clinton Morrison. He came, returned, and it was just like you said. It was good. But before that, obviously, after it was there, I then went to Coventry, and that's when I went like Leon. I played it from Leon McKenzie.
Yeah.
So it's been like ups and downs, but.
And we spoke all that time. I see your highs and lows, and to be fair, when you was passing through Nottingham on your way back down south, you jump in now and again, which was always funny. And so listen, I always watched you, from afar, and I thought it's good to see. And knowing your personality and your character as well, and also knowing some of the things you've had to deal with on a personal front. Sometimes you put a brave face on it, but
I think in my, not even in my defense, it's hard when you've got my character. So I can have, I'm not a clown in it, but sometimes people be like, why are you not bubbly? Why are you not bubbly today? Don't want to smile today, don't it? But where's your smile? Just don't want to smile today. But that's very rare. But then because people will look at me and they're sitting like,
because they're used to seeing that.
Yeah, and I've got energy. So like I understand, like give off energy. I understand what I'm about. So that sometimes just being that, but and looking back now, that's half sort of like hindered me in my career as well. Even Graham said like, he got a bubbly. What? So because I'm bubbly doesn't mean that I'm not upset. Yeah, it's just that the way you'll look around and you've been with someone will just throw the toys out the pram and then they'll be in the team. I'm just like, hang on a minute. I'm being adult.
So what you did at Palace when you come on the pitch and please release me.
My head had gone. I had to have a word with myself in the toy. I was like, no, you're better than this, man.
Because you remembered that you need to throw the toys out the pram.
Yeah, I'm better than this. This is not who I am. I'm not about...
That's a big tune,
I'm about I'm about like hard work and just getting to my destination through me. So, but
we've all got that in our
life. Like,
there's only so much we can take.
Yeah, so like some of the boys look at me and thinking, this ain't you. Like, it wasn't me. So, like I said, the ups and downs and then coming and then obviously finishing my career and getting injured. Like, it's just part and parcel of... I've never looked back at me and be like upset about who I am as a person, what's happened to me. But I've never had a smooth ride. But that's just made me who I am. So I just roll with it, like, to be honest with you. I could be like we said, we talk all the time, but it is what it is. Like, I can't. I can't. My mentality is completely different. Like one door opens, one door closes, isn't it? So
that.
And like I said,
keep moving forward.
Yeah, and even that, I suppose it sort of like stopped me from loving football. So we all got friends that are obviously coaches and they're all in football, and I didn't like football, like, because you start seeing certain things when you're out of it. You start seeing there's certain ways about certain places that's not good. Like, as a player, you can't really say too much. Like, we used to get spoken to like crazy. I used to get spoken. Oh my God! Yeah, like
you talk in the army.
Yeah, but you talk to me
dressing down with a man spitting in your face.
Yeah, and you talk to me like that. I remember one time.
Step back.
Yeah, I remember one time like, as I see, you're a centre half. The centre half has made a mistake from my mistake, and I've gone, Gaffer, to be fair, shut up. Okay. I'm trying to help him because I know it's my fault, but he wants him right there. He doesn't want no one else. And I'm just like, no, this is like a bit crazy, because you wouldn't talk to me like that. Yeah. Out on the road, you wouldn't talk to me like that. But
spitting, screaming, effing and blinding.
But you just got to take it, and then in your head, you're like, cool. That's why sometimes people that are listening, you'll see people run over to their bench and just look at a manager. That's why. Something's happened over the course of 2 weeks, 2 months, something's happened. And then they're saying, cool. And the manager can't say nothing. But it's hard. It's hard, like, being spoken to a certain way and they're allowed to. That's the madness of it.
Well, they're not allowed to. I mean, hopefully we're getting to a space where managers and coaches have to adopt a different way. But even when I played, managers and coaches could really get away with speaking to me in a certain tone or way. I just wasn't having it. Like, as I said, especially when you feel like you're a grown-ass man and you've got children,
but then it goes
no need.
It goes back to like me saying about like racism or like you got a chip on your shoulder. No, just don't talk to me like I'm a dickhead. Don't talk to me a certain way. That's not a chip. That's just me telling you don't talk to me like that. But it's easy to just say, well, yeah, X, Y, Z, or he's that person. So you always be like labelled with, once people know you, they know you and they understand what you're about. So yeah.
So I think the last time I saw you at a club would have been Coventry. I think we played you. Notts County played Coventry in a pre-season game. And I mean, you had to retire. I mean, what age was you when you retired?
I was 30.
So I mean, you retired young, really. I mean, 30's young.
Yeah. When it went, so I had broke my ankle, got over that. When I think I was at had a knee operation on my left knee, had patella tendonitis, had it out for 7 months, and then
I ruptured my patella tendon.
Yeah, so
which is the start of that basically. So is that okay now?
Everything's fine. But then what happened? I remember I was at Coventry and I went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, and we were doing really well. And the knee just so basically what happened was I was my right knee, which was my good knee, for about a year and a half. It was like I was putting pressure on one leg, but in my head, I'm just overcompensating.
Putting all the weight through it.
Went on loan to Bristol Rovers from Coventry. I reckon in the warm up we were playing Yeovil, so it was obviously a local derby down there. And I was like, my knee's really hurting me. I should have talked to my body, but this was my debut. So it's a debut in a local derby. So I remember like my knee was hurting me. I remember just getting the ball, and obviously I went to go to the ball to let the ball run down the line. I went, he put his foot there, blocked my foot. I kept on turning, and my knee just popped up, and that was it. But I heard it. I heard pop.
So you dislocated your knee as well. That's what
it tore off the actual kneecap tore off and went to the side.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, and I was like, no, like I knew I was gone. Like I knew it was gone. And then from then, that was it. Like. Yeah, I think when I look back now.
So did you have an operation?
Yeah, so I had an operation, but it was just like it was done.
So I know that similarly, only because even when I was at Watford, that was the start of my patella tendonitis.
Yeah.
I had this, can't even do that now. I had this crazy jab in my knee, to get me through the remainder of the season, which worked, but obviously wears off. Yeah. But also the patella tendon. So when I was at Peterborough, I dislocated my kneecap, which was really strange because I jumped up with Ken Charlery. And his foot caught my kneecap in the playoff semis.
Yeah.
And my kneecap went round to the side. So I dislocated my kneecap. So I've weakened my kneecap, dislocation, and the patella tendonitis. Now, I had a complete rupture of patella tendonitis, which was probably, I didn't think at the time, it was a blessing because once I had it repaired, I had another 11 years. I did the work.
Yeah.
The Brazilian Ronaldo, put it into context, did it twice. With the best surgeon, the best rehab team in the world. And he retired. So I was thinking, I'm going to struggle, right? But if you do your work, you come back. But if you've only got a partial rupture, or if you're suffering with patella tendonitis, you're just wearing the phrase. You're fraying the knee, and like, what are you going to do? You're just managing it, right?
Because it was hard. Because I got released from Coventry that year. So when I got released, looking back now, they should have looked after me, and I should have made more noise. Because even if they said, "Listen, we'll give you 6 months and we'll go," so I've gone from there and ended up at Lilleshall.
Yeah,
obviously, like. Doing the rehab and stuff, and then come back, and I just knew I wasn't the same person,
right.
And I just like in my head, and I'm one of them. So even if I look back now, and you'll see, it's like an analogy. You see boxers that they're still fighting when they're 45 because they're trying to chase something.
Yeah.
Mine was pulled from under the rug, so I knew mentally I can't play football. Right. Where some people that are still trying to chase football because they're doing it, it puts them in a bad place. So
very few players retire from football, you know.
Yeah, it's just what I'm saying.
Like you don't get another contract, or you get injured.
Yeah. They end up, I got friends
Very
that
few
I
retire.
got friends that I might be picking up, I don't know, 150 a game.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going. But because of that, so I can play, but I remember they said to me, listen, we can give you we can get you up, but you won't be able to, you end up like Tom Wally basically, right? You have to have a knee construction. And I'm like, nah, I want to be able, and I'm like, my little boy was what, 5 maybe? I said, I want to be able to like play football with him. This is before me even thinking he was going to play football. I think I want to be able to run about. I want to be that dad. So I said, no, I'm going to have to retire. And this was just like, right, we can do that, but then you might get another 3-4 years out of the game. But for me, it was just
long-term effects.
Yeah. Like I think people don't, for the here's and nows, it's cool. But what about later?
No.
When obviously
the long term.
Yeah.
Listen, we all suffer with these ailments as we go on. So going from obviously playing, transitioning, had to retire. Second phase, the new chapter of your life, becoming a PT. Working through some personal issues. Talk about the highs and lows.
So I left obviously football, went to the PFA, the association, and thought, right, I want to stay in. I've always been a physical person. I'm all about looking after myself, just being physically fit. So I said, well, I'm going to go and do a course. So I remember going to PFA. They was like, right.
You called me enough times.
Yeah. Like, this is how much it is. Just get you pay, you do. So obviously that's when you had to, they needed to know that you're serious. So you pay it. And then when you've qualified, we'll give you your money back.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, right. So done this. And this was the transition was hard. So I've gone in and I'm now weighing Joe Blogs. I've always been weighing Joe Blogs. I'm just weighing off the public. That's how I've never been, once I stopped playing football, I'm like, did you know that I used to play football? I'm not that guy. Right. So I'm now going on this course for 8 weeks. And I remember having to be there at 8 o'clock, 8 till 5. For about the first week, I was falling asleep at about 12 o'clock. I was like, nah, this is long. Like my brain was just... So I'm very intelligent. I went to a grammar school. But you're having to now, like you said, we'd go in...
It has to stimulate you.
Yeah, so we'd go in at football, go and get breakfast, train, and be done by 12. Maybe 2 hours tops. Don't get me... It's not like it wasn't hard. It's intense. But that's where your mindset's at. So I'm doing all this. Then we're having lunch. Then we're doing stuff in the gym. Anyway, I was quite proud of myself because we'd done that. I'd done personal training and nutrition and massage.
Okay.
So in this 8 weeks, so you're doing this whole course, having to get pass grades. So I'm now gone into a world where you've got normal people that have been at college that are all about numbers. So if I say to you, right, you need 75% to pass, and I get 75%, I don't care. They go, what do you get? 75. Oh, I got 90. Okay, good for you then. Well done. But that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, pass is a pass. But when I then went into the gym environment, they were lost. Because obviously it's like me saying, I've turned up at this course most probably already qualified because we've always been in the gym. So we know about how to set up body, like body alignment and all the stuff like that.
Basics.
Yeah, we've got the basics before, but obviously you've got to go through all that. So obviously done that, qualified, went into, this was like 2010. And then getting on my life, I'm now happy doing what I'm doing. And 2012, Lloyd Doyley had a testimonial at Watford. So he's like, I want you to play in it. So we were playing Tottenham. So I've turned up, Tommy Mooney's there. Like, it's just good to be around all these people. Like Bruce Dyer's there. And you're, when you see people years later and you realise football kept you how you was because your mate, like, you just gone. Like, it's weird. It's a very weird thing to say. So I'm like, and they're, what you been doing? You're looking after yourself. And I'm just training, and I got on this pitch and I remember running around, and this is the first time my boy has seen me play. I'm running around. I'm out of breath after like 2 minutes. I'm out of breath. So I'm thinking, whatever. So over the course of done the game, enjoyed it. Over the course of the next, I'd say 3 weeks, that my life just changed completely. So I've gone in and I kept on getting this rash all over my body. And I kept on tasting iron in my mouth. And my ankles kept on swelling. So I'm thinking, and obviously by this time now, I'm PT Wayne, going in early. So if I'm got a client at 6, by Thursday and I'm doing 6 and I'm leaving at 7, I'm going to be tired. My body, I'm physically tired. So I'm thinking, right, something's not right. So I've gone and I've, didn't think nothing of it. I've changed doctors and gone and had like an MOT. So gone into the doctors and she's got high blood pressure. Nah, no chance. Like, it was really high. I said, no chance. I can't have blood pressure. So this was on Wednesday. Thursday went back again, same high. And she said, come back on Wednesday. And I'll come back on Friday and go, your blood's done. Blood's done. And then on a Monday, I got a phone call from the main top doctor saying that I've got kidney failure and I got to come straight to hospital right now. I was like, what? And like, I remember picking up the phone because I was at my mum and dad's, and I wasn't going to answer the phone. I was about to take my kids home, and then I picked up the phone, and then like my life just changed from then, and it was just so crazy. So all my symptoms were talking to me. So before that, I reckon before I had the testimonial, I kept on going to the toilet like 4 times a night. Like I mean on the dot. So I'd go to bed at 10, wake up at 12, then I wake up at 2, then I wake up at 4, and then I'm getting ready to go to train again at 6. So I never had like a proper sleep. And then I obviously went for bloods, and then that was it. And I was just rushed to hospital, and I got told that was it, August the 12th August 2012, that I needed to have a transplant.
So if you never went for the MOT?
Like I did. So you know when you see, so I got told this, and it's crazy. So I had literally, most probably about a week to live, because my toxins in my body, that's what I kept on tasting. So my toxins were just getting higher and higher and higher. So you see like...
So you're drowning?
Yeah, so you see like someone who might go on a London Marathon and then they just collapse, but they're fit. You're fit because you're running, innit? So that is them symptoms. So I would never have known. I would have just collapsed and died. That's it, like the long and short of it. So it was only because I was getting a rush and I'm thinking, nah, I just don't. Like, so it's all circumstantial when you look back. Like, and like you said, it's scary talking about it, but I'm very much a person where I won't go back and think, oh, what if I didn't go? I'm gone. Like, it didn't happen, luckily, and I'm looking forward.
But this is awareness for other people that might be suffering.
Yeah. So like, it's just the little things where the swollen ankles. Like, I was getting like, I remember I was working in a gym and we'd have like meetings, and I'm clearly like I'm narcoleptic. I'm just dropping sleep clean. Like, I'm thinking, I'm so tired. And then I had like a yellowy, jaundicey look. So again, all of this was happening without me really happening. But we're from a school of work hard and just get on with it. So me being from, like you said, it goes back to like when I'm just like, you know what, just got to drive through and dig through. I'm tired, man. The weekend's coming. That's how I would think. Like, it's Tuesday, oh cool, give me 3 days, man, I'll be all right. And then the weekend's here. So again, all this stuff was just circumstantial, and I just didn't know. But I mean, it was like I was licking a lamppost. It was that much iron. Like, I could just taste it, and that was the toxins. And then, like I said, I went to see the doctor, the consultant, and then I remember I went with my mum and dad at the time, and he sat me down and said that whatever he said, and then I heard, you need to have a transplant or you're gonna die. And then after that, I didn't hear nothing in it. So I was in there for 15 minutes, but I didn't hear nothing else. And then I think it was like how I lived my life. I think about a week of like getting my head around it. And once I knew what's what, that's it. And I got to get a transplant. That's it. I can't think of nothing else.
So dealing with the life changes, what you've had to go through. I mean, I saw something on your Insta, you know, that you put out like a daily blog of the process. I mean, I saw your tablets earlier as well.
Yeah. Like it's hard because obviously when I got diagnosed, I was on dialysis. So I was on dialysis, which is when they take your blood out, clean it. So I remember going in and like, I'm bubbly Wayne. I remember the first time I'd gone in and I'm just like, right. So 3 times a week for 4.5 hours a day, I'm sitting on this bed, right? And this machine beeping and you got seeing the blood coming in and out. And I'm right, if I'm going to go on this bed, I got to have a vibe. Bearing in mind, there's other people there, innit? So I'm like, the nurses and that would love my energy because I'm thinking like, I can't, for 4.5 hours, I can't just sit here and just be down. So like, I'd watch a film, 2 hours, whatever it is, listen to an album, then maybe chat to the biscuit lady that come around with the tea. Because she come around once. But once she become my friend, I started getting extra biscuits. So
Dolly, yeah.
I get extra biscuits and more tea on the sly. So I'm not stupid. So I'm sitting there and I'm going through all of this. And then the nurses, I remember, and these times now I'm still training. So it's me understanding my body. I remember you'd get on the weighing scales and they're trying to get all the toxins out your body. So I was get on at I think I was 78 kg, which was mad. Now I'm like 85 now, right? Not 86 now. and I'm getting on. And then when I'd get off, I'd be like 72. So like people that are trying to lose weight, it's a craziness. They're just draining you. So you get water retention. That's the water retention. They're trying to take all the toxins out. So I was coming off at like 4.5 hours at 72. And I'm telling them, yeah, but I go to the gym. Like you're making me too weak. So it was like a battle between getting the toxins out for one day, knowing that I could then come back. They would then build up for the next day. So they would never disappear until you had your transplant.
Yeah.
So done all that, ended up having so we're coming up, what's the date today? 2nd, on the 9th of February, will be 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So like, even that, when I look back, I was getting to the point where I was obviously on dialysis, and it was, so I'd live my life by 6 months. So I'd be like, beginning of the year, by the summer, I'm going to get a transplant. Right, summer will come, cool. By the end of the year, I'm going to get a transplant. So that gave me a window rather than trying to wait all the time for something to happen. So my dad got tested, my brother got tested, no match. Went into the pool and paired with my friend still, and that was only run 3 times a year, no match. And I was watching the Super Bowl. Like I'm up, 2 o'clock in the morning? And then my phone rang. And I said, and I'm thinking, well, this ain't a booty call, clearly, because that's not what I'm about. Like, I don't know what's happening there. And I picked it up, and it was a hospital. And they're like, we found your kidney, you need to come in right now. And I was like, shoo. And then, like I said, the next thing I know was just like a day later, I'm going into surgery, and I've come out and I've got a new kidney, and that was it. Like, I was talking about to my friend the other day. So I've written a letter to the family of the person that gave me the thing, but I've had it for a couple of years, but I'm also aware my anniversary is the death of their loved one.
Of course.
Because obviously, like the window's like 12 hours when you get the kidney, so you have to go in and out. Yeah. So it becomes a case of timing for me. Like, but I think there'd be not like now. There might be like maybe long enough to. So someone said to me, I shouldn't really worry about myself too much, because I worry about what I might be doing to them. So will I be bringing back memories? Yeah. But someone will be like, but they might actually want to hear that you've gone to a good place, and you're healthy. So I think that's the next step. But even like I look back, like I got scars from my dialysis, and it's just little memories. But like I said, no one would ever know until I tell them.
No, I know that. But what you're doing now by coming to this podcast today, and obviously some other bits and pieces, is raising awareness. Working with charities. I know you work. You train Andy Cole, so Jermaine Genius. So let's plug that at the fact. I mean, Andy's been through previous stuff as well.
Yeah, so Andy obviously
you can relate.
Yeah, Andy come to me a year and a half after my transplant. So obviously, Andy was my footballing hero, right? So going up and then you're seeing him on TV, and it's like we said, you see him on TV. Some people, and he's all like fat. So I remember people saying he's been eating a lot of like takeaways and stuff like that. And obviously, I knew what happened. Yeah. So Andy Answer, who's obviously a friend of ours, he obviously is tight with Coley. So he's given Coley my number, and he's called me and he's gone, Wayne, it's Coley. Coley. He goes, Andrew Cole. I said, you're right, mate. And obviously I knew what was going on, and he was just basically trying to pick my ear. Like, how are you doing? How's everything going? Like, how do you get on? And I remember for about a year. So remember when BlackBerry times, when people used to put statuses up. He used to speak through. It was crazy. Even like now, like I'm very much in tune with stuff. People speak through their status. They're just not saying nothing. So he would be speaking through his text without saying what he's saying, but he's actually saying it. I could read clean between the lines, because obviously I've been there. So it was all based around the people that he thought were his friends not there, and people are not really understanding it.
So it's cryptic.
Very cryptic. So I've broken this down and I've gone to him, listen, like, just if you need to talk, like, call me, whatever is easiest, but understand that no matter what happens, your name can help a lot of people. I remember saying to him, you can help a lot of people, and you know him well enough, and he's not really that guy. He's very private, isn't it? So then, must 2 years now, he come to me and said, listen, after his transplant, I want to get fit. So even that journey with him now, I understand everything. So there was a thing called a kidney day. So I found this out 6 months into have my first dialysis. So I'm bubbly, and the kidney day is like, you could be my partner. I don't want to talk today. That's me having a kidney day. So it's not me being like in a certain way. I just don't want to talk to no one today. Like you could be buzzing down my phone and I ain't talking to no one. And that's just me having a moment with myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of his stuff was just understanding him because he was very, very hard to. It's like most people. I think the more famous you are, the less you trust.
Yeah, of course.
See what I mean? So he was building trust, like in the sense of me being able to like even if you go on my page, I don't post him. Like it's weird. I could post him way more than I post him, but in my head, I'm like, mine and your journey is our journey.
You've kept your relationship
It's our journey,
quite private. And quite
so where
real,
I can sometimes put it up every now and then if there's a status like different sections of where we progressed in that, but I just don't put it on there.
But you do want to do more public speaking, and you do want to get into the space, don't you? So
it's just like I understand like my story, even what. So when we had the conversation, my story just isn't about my kidney. When you actually go back to what I've been through, like it's about well-being. It's about diversity in the sense of where you have to come out of little things you go into. Like I'm stronger by default. I think. Like I didn't. So people would be like, "How are you?" I'm just by default. This is how I am. Like I didn't ask to be like this, but I'm very aware of what I can bring to people. But I think I need to understand it myself. So you need to. So how can I put it? We've got people. I've got friends right now that have stopped playing football when I play football, and still putting out football posts about what they done 10 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, but like things move on. But I can actually talk about something that's actually real. But because that's what holds me back. And this is me saying it out like on the mic. Stuff like that holds me back. It shouldn't hold me back. Because I've actually got more to talk about than any of them. But like I said, my mentality and how I am is I'm very driven by like energy and like you can get through. There shouldn't be no reason to. So some of my friends, like my close boys, and it's weird. So women will talk more than men, right? Yeah, so a girl will be like, yeah, girlfriend, get a bottle of wine and bring it around and chat. Let's chat. A man ain't really talking. So even when I remember coming out and my friend, like my good mate Danny, went to me, I'm proud of you. Like I wouldn't have been able to do what you done. And I'm like, why? Like, this is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. He said, no, I couldn't have done it. And I'm like, and little things like that I get, but I don't get.
And this is why you got to use your profile and you got to try and share the message and just bring more awareness to this whole situation so people can benefit from your experience. I think positive.
Yeah, like so the Kidney Research Foundation, which is the main kidney, like they've got on the 10th of March is National Kidney Day.
Okay.
So obviously that's important. It's an important thing just in general. So the World Kidney Day. So they want me to do a fitness blog. Because again, like when I was talking to you before, I go for my bloods and people just look at me like to say, why am I here?
Yeah.
And I'm just the same as you. It's just that my mentality has come a little bit different to yours. So I'm very aware of what I've been through, who I am. So it might be a little thing where I might get cold. So obviously my immune system's lower than yours.
Yeah, they can knock you for
so that's when I then think, oh, you know what? I need to take time. Like, otherwise, I live how I need to live.
So you're hiding yourself for the COVID?
So yeah, I remember like even that, it was obviously because of that work, like it's weird. So when you're doing in a gym environment, so I worked in a private gym at the time, it was actually cleaner than anyone else because obviously people started taking stuff around and wiping stuff down, but in your head you're still thinking it's dirty. But then there's like, I don't know, someone might sneeze.
Yeah, you can't
sneeze, and I'm just
even now you can't do it in
a
public space. People look at you and think, "Come on, man."
And but I suppose that even like I didn't want to live my life in fear. Like I'm thinking, do you know what? Like I'm just gonna do me, and like I'm gonna look after myself. I'm gonna take my vitamins. Because even that, I look back now, and that just used to baffle me. So whether it's believed or it's not believed, not once did they put on the TV about eating fruit or eating anything healthy. And this is me talking from a fitness point. I'm thinking, but surely you should push stuff.
All the natural stuff.
But nothing was getting pushed. So in my head, I'm thinking, whatever, I'll just do me then.
Yeah.
So even when it comes to a cold, like I've not got man flu, I'll attack it. I don't want it in me. I'm that guy. No chance. Like you might get 2 days out of a day and a half. And then I'm like, nah, you gotta go. So like I said, looking after myself in that sense through COVID was But even I look back and I said to people, if you don't understand who you are as a person now, this is like just in general, through this COVID, you never know what you're about. And that's like, I know it sounds a little bit thing, but it's just like the mental side of it. So my head was just like, I'm just going to get myself in a fit space. I'm not going to just breathe the air. I'm just going to be healthy. And that's what I was thinking. I'm going to be healthy. I ain't going to watch the news because they're just bringing out pure negative vibes. And again, that's what it was, is negative energy. I'm thinking, I'm not watching nothing, man. I'm going to just play like I'm on a desert island. And it done that for me. But then obviously other people's mentality was living through certain things. Like my mum worried more than I did. Which that's what they do.
Yeah, of course. She's
but I'm just like, I'm all right. Like, I'm good. Like, but yeah, it's just it was difficult times then for many people. But I think my whole outlook was completely different. I had to. That's how I had to live my life, me personally. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. So yeah.
I think you've brought that energy today, even for people listening who may not have heard your story or know, what you've had to go through personally. But you've shown positivity. You've shown a way to manage your life on a daily, and I think you should be commended to that. Me personally, very proud of you. I've known you personally. Really pleased if there's anything I could support and help you with in the future. That I'm here for you. So,
like I said, I do. I think I know I need to. Like I was talking to you earlier, and there's. I think sometimes in life there's reasons behind certain things. Like I said, was I meant to play football and be a footballer throughout all my career without no breaks? Clearly not. Like, was I meant to just be healthy? Clearly not, because something's happened. But every time it's not like I'm bouncing back sounds wrong, but it's the adversity that I'm going through. So like when I go through it, there's a reason why. Like you said, dropping out the league, coming back into the league, playing in the Prem, getting out. Like even I didn't even talk about like losing my hair, like stuff like that. Like where it's just them little things. Like people get tested on a daily. So it's not like I'm saying that I'm better than anyone else. It's just that I think if you set yourself in a certain way, certain mind frame, you'll be all right. I'm very much like where, and I said this to like Coley, I didn't have no one. So when I speak to Andy, I really want to help him. And I know this sounds weird because I never had no one. There was no one for me. And I said this to the kidney racer. I had no one that I could look at. There's no one that I could look at and say, right, you're healthy, you're fit. All was done through me. So that's me. So I can obviously look back and be happy that I looked after me. So I got through that. Where like when I speak to Andy, I want to help him, which means I want to help other people. So if I can like do stuff like that and help people, whether it be fitness based or just getting through something where, listen, you'll be all right. There's a lot of people, they'll be fine. But it's just getting people's mindset right, isn't it? Really.
Wow. Listen, Wayne, it's been great having you here. Thank you for sharing. Always good to speak to you.
Yes.
Hope people enjoyed listening to the podcast. Please share, subscribe, and tune in.
Yes.
Well done, bro.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.